This is a place without time. Mornings blend into nights. The creek, cold pools and quick riffles, flow by aspen groves and cottonwoods. It remains wild here, high in the mountains of Colorado.
The ranch sits at the headwaters of Trout Creek, which is about 5 miles from the Flat Tops Wilderness. We're right here on the border of the National Forest. And the Trout Creek flows through the property and provides irrigation water for the ranch. The kids now are the 5th generation here on the property.
We have been traditionally a cow-calf operation and sheep. At that time we were running more sheep than we were cattle. We've acquired a little over 2,400 deeded acres on our operation, and with overall leasing of our neighboring ranches and other additional parcels, we're operating close to 20,000 acres now.
Knott Land and Livestock is a 4th-generation ranch, with the 5th generation, 2 young Knotts, taking root in a business, sustainable and productive.
I guess both my father and I have had the opportunity to grow up and live on this place. Neither one of us have ever really left except for going to college and when Dad served in the service. Working with my dad and working with my grandparents truly instilled a love for the property, a love for the work. If I'm not out of the house by 5:30 in the morning and still coming in at 9 o'clock at night, I don't think I put in a full day. You know, that's kind of the way our family's always been.
The ranch is diverse. Both cattle and sheep graze rotated pastures reaching as high as 9,000 feet.
We've always traditionally been diversified, both cattle and sheep. As we transitioned into becoming more of a cattle operation, we still feel it's necessary to be diversified in that regard. So we're a cow-calf operation. We retain our own heifers for replacements. And we've had the opportunity to expand over the last several years, and we're currently running a yearling operation on the side as far as stocker pasture yearlings. And right now we have about 550 yearling steers and heifers in, a majority of which will be marketed into the greater Omaha Hereford market.
There was a day to move cattle from snow-fed high mountain pastures down to Trout Creek. Tyler and a ranch hand pushed 200 cattle to fresh timothy, smooth broom, and orchard grass.
Today we are moving some pears from one pasture to another. We traditionally move our cows on 20 to 30 day intervals, kind of depending on how the feed and water holds out. Today we were moving from a pasture that was high on the hill, and we dropped them down onto our creek bottom where they can get a fresh drink and fresh feed, and we'll start working them up to the valley floor up to our headquarters by fall.
Tyler and Megan manage pastures by need and by conditions of climate, but mainly to keep their animals on fresh forage and fresh water from June through November.
We try to manage our pastures and have a deferred rotation system. I call it adaptive grazing management, because sometimes weather or certain climatic conditions don't allow us to have a perfectly structured rotation.
We carefully manage which species are grazing and how intense they're grazing, and rotate that carefully, so we're making sure to mitigate fire damage and reseed and control weeds and all those things.
Megan came to this Colorado ranch by a route she likely never considered.
And I studied forestry in school. I have a master's in forestry. From then, I just started working in the land conservation field, doing conservation forestry work all across the East Coast, and was looking for something a bit different. I ended up getting a job with Colorado Cattlemen's Agricultural Land Trust, and then met Tyler, and then got married and got stuck here.
I like to say we left set a hook and just anchored her here, but.
In addition to the ranch, Megan is Director of Stewardship for the Colorado Cattlemen's Agricultural Land Trust.
So I am Director of Stewardship for the Colorado Cattlemen's Agricultural Land Trust. Our mission is to protect important agricultural lands across the state of Colorado. As of today, we have 750,000 acres across the state in conservation easement, and we've worked with over 500 families to protect that. And it's really important to make sure that the agricultural base here in Colorado is preserved and available for ag into the future. But as much as I say that I love nature and the environment, and I think I'm just the biggest sucker for a good family story. and the people, and helping the people stay on that ranch and maintain it in their family.
The land is the land, but what has made the land is the people. We get stuck thinking of what it is today is what it's always been. And what it is today is because good stewards of the land have helped make it that way.
Megan and Tyler have come to understand they have to be storytellers, telling consumers how they raise food and yet protect the land.
So that's the biggest challenge I think agriculture has to overcome. We have to be able to tell the story and tell the story truthfully and gain the trust of the American consumer again. A large percentage of the consumers don't appreciate how much effort and heart we're putting into it.
Part of the story is told through Trout Creek Meats, the Knott's direct-to-consumer beef and sheep meat business.
In 2021, we launched Trout Creek Meats, which allows us to directly market to the consumer and through wholesalers, but our large percentage of our sales is direct to the consumer by selling wholes and halves in both cattle and sheep.
Tyler and Megan are instilling an ethic for the land in a 5th generation.
Our daughter Ella is 7, and her real passion is the animals. During lambing season, you can't get her out of the barn. And then our son Colin is 5, and he's a gearhead. According to him, the reason that we have cows is so we can use the tractor to feed them.
Megan, Tyler, what's your future look like?
Well, for me, it's maintaining it and retaining the management and trying to constantly improve it so it's at least available to them as they get to that age where they can take over the management if they so choose to.
I think it's a rare thing today for people to grow up with such a deep sense of place. And these kids are getting the opportunity for that, a place that's just instilled in history and wild and still wild. And I think that it creates character and builds character. Yeah, and just allows them to grow up to be good people.